Welcome to Blue Collar Mystics, the under-the-hood approach to the depths of human consciousness. So many mysteries, so little time, so many big words. That's why we aim to take the mystical and make it practical, usable in your everyday life. And you know, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your story. What happened when you started asking yourself the real questions? Like, who am I? What is this? Is it a hologram? Is this some kind of weird cosmic joke? Hey, these are the questions that we are trying to get to the bottom of as we explore the final rabbit hole together here as Blue Collar Mystics. Right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm so excited today. We have an amazing guest. I've been following his work for over a year now or plus. He's got an awesome story. I'm really excited to learn some new things about him. Just before we kick it off and get started, I just want to say, be sure to subscribe, share all that YouTuber nonsense. Also, check us out on the alternative platforms. Our good friends at Content Safe are distributing this stuff all over the internet, and we could not be happier about it. Also want to remind you guys that we'll be at Grimerica's Contact at the Cabin event next February in Mount Shasta with the spaceship. It's going to be amazing. Really looking forward to that. And I'm really looking forward to this. Dave, Flat Earth Dave of the Flat Earth Podcast. David Weiss is our guest today. Thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure, dude. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. I'm glad it finally happened. And so I'm really excited to kind of get this whole thing underway. You know, you were kind of saying to me, well, you have my app and you still don't know about the Earth. And, you know, for our purposes, I'm still very curious about it. I don't want to take an official position, I guess, because I understand.
You know what? A lot of us don't want to do a lot of things, but let's have a little scenario. Are you ready?
Okay.
Gunman walks into the house, gun to your head. You have 3 seconds. Is the Earth flat or a globe? If you get it wrong, you're dead. 1, 2, 3.
Is there a third option?
Nope.
Because I really got into Eileen Day McCusick's work.
How about this? Let me rephrase
recently.
the question.
Yeah, sure.
Is the Earth a globe?
I don't know.
All right, we got work to do.
Well, I mean, like I said, man, I'm mostly concerned with because I believe there's a million questions that can wake somebody up. And I think Flat Earth is really one of those rabbit holes. For me, like I really enjoy it. I think it's super duper interesting.
It kind of resonates with your soul, right?
I mean, yeah, there's something to it. That's for sure. No, and your app is awesome. I've used your app and it's accurate. And there's accuracies on both sides of things too. So it's hard for me to say. Like, I won't even put my own theory on the table to be like, this is the definite absolute truth of anything, because I understand that we all have our own sort of map, you know? And so the map not being the territory, so to speak, there are so many different ways that people engage, interact, and create their own sort of version of reality. So
I'm with you. I'm with you there. And, we don't have a model. We don't have an exact model. We know that the sun that we see appears to circle around. But what is the sun? How far is it? How big is it? Right? All of this stuff is unknown. But the only thing that one of the things that we absolutely do know is that we're not a spinning ball flying through an infinite space vacuum. That's scientifically, testably, provably, repeatably, accurate. So once you know that the globe is a lie, the heliocentric matrix for your mind is a lie, then we have a lot of work to do to figure out what this place really is.
Yeah, I think all of us have hit this wall at some point and over something. And I think it's different for everybody, where we hit a wall and we're like, the world is not what I was told that it was. You know, for me, it was conspiracy theory stuff in 2012, went deep into that rabbit hole. But I looked around at the world and I was like, man, this is nothing like what they taught me in college. Like, not even freaking close. I had contempt for the institutions. I was very upset and hurt, and I felt like I had been stolen from, which we all have been, right? Like through the modern education system, public education. That system is literally designed to suck out our souls and make us compliant.
College is a scam. You know how in school they tell you that you only use 10% of your brain? Well, that's true. In school, they pigeonhole you into using the 10%, the base of your brain, right? They don't allow your brain to use its imagination, its wonderment, use all the other features. I mean, you have a lot of features that were just never told about. Did you know that your thoughts create your reality? No, they don't teach you that. Do you know about vortex mathematics or sacred geometry? No, they don't teach you about that. Did you know what that we're not on a spinning ball, that we're here at the center of creation? No, right? And all of that not knowing, all of that false information literally shuts down 90% of your brain. So they did tell you something true, but
no, that's great. Yeah, I remember daydreaming in class, and then I would get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
But like those daydreams were.
I would have given you an A for that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I knew that. Knew we'd get along, It makes total sense. Well, I want to focus on you and talk, to you about, your story, your awakening. Like I said, I think there are different catalysts for different people that really start us asking these questions within ourselves, because, from our perspective, as far as like blue collar mystics, there's no guru, there's nobody to tell you what to do. It's all within us. We're ancient technology. The information is, I believe, innately within us. And so we're here to explore ourselves with each other, as part of God or the universe or spirit, or, however we want to quantify that. So I really want to kind of just focus on you and how your, I guess, awakening, for lack of a better word, came about. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, going back to the beginning, I questioned stuff, from being a child. I remember in either kindergarten or first grade, the science teacher or our teacher, which was, teaching us science, brought us outside and was teaching us about gravity, right? A little kid learning about gravity. And they took a bucket of water and swung it around on a rope. He said, that's gravity. And I actually had the wherewithal to say, but if we're on a ball, the water's on the outside, so you'd have to turn the bucket the other way to spin it around. And the teacher going like this on his big beard, and he goes, that's a really good question. He goes, but I'm told to teach it this way, so that's how I'm going to teach it. But you keep asking questions. That's what he said.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And and life went on from there. And so I guess my big awakening was with the Federal Reserve, when I was like, what the hell is money? What? I don't understand this gold standard and everything. And I started looking, and then I found out the Federal Reserve isn't even federal. It's a private bank. It's run by a bunch of shysters. And I started looking into that. And then after that, 9/11 happened, and I actually got to see it, not on television. I can look down Long Island Sound from where I am. Wow. And I had a clear shot of Lower Manhattan. And what I saw wasn't what they were saying on television, and wasn't what they were showing. But it took me 4 years after that before I really started looking into it, because, I don't know, I had other things to do, and that's part of the plan. And so then I got into that, and I eventually, years later, I started a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, where we started looking into things. Episode 1 was called 9/11 is Dave's Baby. And we blew up, no pun intended, the studio that we did it in. We're in a studio in Manhattan, and all the producers and owners of the studio, by the time we were done, they all had their heads in the studio. They're like, what the hell is going on? Because people were totally asleep and unaware that 9/11 didn't happen the way they told us. So it went on from there to all the other deceptions. And then, I had that was part of the podcast. I called it Exposing the Big Three. It talked about the New York event, the marathon event, and the school in Connecticut event. And basically I said, you wake people up to those obvious misconceptions, or whatever you want to call it, those obvious lies, they'll wake up to everything else. But the problem was people would wake up and go right back to sleep. Like, well, yeah, someone got away with it, whatever, different people, different administration, whatever. And they'd forget about it. Then all of a sudden, flat Earth started coming at people. Like, hey, Dave, have you looked into the flat Earth? And first I thought it was a joke, but then they kept coming and they kept posting on our social media. And I'm like, come on, stop it. Banned. Banned for life. I came up with banned for life because you're too stupid. You're too stupid to look into flat Earth. Of course, we know the Earth is a globe. Ships go over the horizon. Sticks and shadows from Aristophanes 2,000 years ago. Day and night. Sunsets prove the Earth is flat. And then finally, I was forced to look. And I went in with a closed mind. I'm like, I'm just going to prove the globe and disprove flat Earth and put all these stupid people away. And for 2 weeks, no sleep, barely any sleep, I tried to prove the globe, but every single thing I looked at proved the flat Earth. And I was like, wait a minute, and then I kind of kept it quiet for a while. I was like, this is going to discredit everything that I've ever done. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is all real. How's it going to discredit it? People are going to freak out. And they did. And the podcast kind of blew up from there. One of the other two hosts couldn't handle it. One of them, was like, I kind of get it. The other one's like, blah, blah, blah. So we ended it. And then I started the Flat Earth podcast. There was no Flat Earth podcasts at the time. So I started the Flat Earth podcast, and it's still available at theflatearthpodcast.com along with all my other links. And that took off. And here I am talking to you. Okay. And, this crazy world. Why does the shape of the Earth matter? Well, flat is not a shape. So that's a good thing, right? Flat is a description of level and horizontal. And we can prove that level is horizontal. And that horizontal is parallel to the horizon, the horizontal horizon. Okay. And it's parallel everywhere. Horizontals are parallel. The horizon is parallel. The Earth is flat. On a globe, you have to do mental gymnastics to explain how level it's curved, right? And once you start looking into this stuff, there's no going back. So why am I talking about it? Why does it matter in all this crazy world? And it's because if you're spinning out of control, lost in space, you're lost. You have no foundation. You're living in a fear-based world, and you're insignificant. And once you unplug from all of that, I call the matrix the heliocentric system. Once you unplug from the matrix, you all of a sudden free yourself like Neo did. And all flat earthers are Neo at the end of the movie, not at the beginning.
Right on. No, yeah, it's been said that flat bottom girls make the rockin' world go round, I've heard. I'm a raft guide, so I did that for years and years, right? So water's always trying to make itself level. It's always trying to make itself flat. That's actually what creates rapids. So I'm aware of that, right? And I've seen tons and tons of your work. Like I said, for my purposes, it's really about the individual, and it's cool that because I think everybody has their own take and thing to bring to the table. It's almost like the universe was like, oh, there's not a Flat Earth podcast? Well, Dave, here you go. You know what I mean? It's like, come right on in.
There's not a Flat Earth app? Oh, now there is. And
yeah.
People say, did you make that app? I have a programmer, but I came up with all of the stuff in it, and we're improving it every day. And we, as in me and my developer, and I can't believe that I made this app. It's actually unbelievable. It's one of the highest rated apps in both the App Store and the Google Play Store. And just read the reviews. People friggin' love it. And it's now becoming like a dating app. People are using it to find other friends and significant others near them because it has a friend finder feature on it.
Yeah, it's a really cool app. I definitely endorse the app. It's awesome. It's accurate. It's cool. I can glance at that little clock on there and be like, oh, Wendy's in Australia. And I can see exactly what time it is there, based on where I'm at,
if you're unsure, you hit the time lapse button and it'll show you what time it is in Australia. Bam.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So I can know if I'm going to bother her or,
Isn't that convenient?
It is.
And you know what? Another thing is when the moon is in the day sky, it's usually pretty small and it's in the day sky, so you don't notice it. But sometimes I look at my app and go, oh, the moon's right up. Oh, it's right there. And then you see the moon. Seeing the moon, especially during the day and at night, both the same, is something special. And we're taught that it's nothing. We're taught that, it's just a rock in the sky 238,000 miles away that happens to be falling around the Earth and mirroring all of its movements, which is insanity. But the moon is very spiritual. the moon is the biggest mystery of all. I think the moon has to do with, I don't think life could exist without the moon. Not for the reason that science says, because of gravity and tides and stuff, because that's nonsense. It's the energetic balance. I think the moon, in my opinion, and many other ancient civilizations, that it delivers and removes souls from the earth, between the heaven and the earth. And the heavens are right there. You can see it. Look up.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've heard that as well. I'm interested in that, as far as like getting, I guess, recirculated, for lack of a better word, here on Earth, reincarnating over and over and over again. And the sort of the moon. The moon definitely has this feminine, like sort of negative, or cathode type of energy too, right? Like it's colder than the regular light.
You magnify moonlight, it gets cold.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so certainly the sun and the moon are the yin and the yang somehow of our realm, however that works out. I know for sure there's a lot more to this than we're able to explore. Like I've heard you say, you don't have your own science lab, your own NASA. So
yeah, I do. I live in a science lab. This entire world is a science lab. Open your eyes. You're walking by things every day that you have no idea what you're seeing, from old buildings from Tatarian times, right? Which you don't understand, right? And when you see these rock formations in the woods, when you're out in nature, like, you don't know that those were trees or maybe animals, depending on what you're looking at. Okay, that you don't know what you're seeing. When your eyes are open to the reality of this world, every day is a wonderment. If there was 48 hours in every day and I only needed to sleep for 3 hours, I still wouldn't be bored, because I wouldn't have enough time to see all of the things that I want to see and learn all of the things I want to learn. One thing every single flat earther has in common is we never have a second of boredom, no matter what, because there's always so many things to think about. This place is absolutely amazing. It was made for us. There is no end to what you can learn. No end. It's not like a video game where you can get to the top level. There is no top level. You can keep going and going and going, and there's more and more to learn and see. So we're taught that we only use 10% of our brains, and that we have to work for a living, and then we get the weekends off to drink beer and go to sports games and watch sports on television and watch movies to contain your mind. And we have to obey the government, govern your mind, meant your mind, govern, control, and that we have to work our lives away until we're too old to enjoy it. That's what they want you to believe life is, and that's not life. That's slavery.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with that more, right? It's about us, really. We've learned helplessness very well in the school system. So it's really about us, looking within and starting to ask ourselves the questions that matter. Coming across somebody asking you about the flat earth and finally being so irritated by being pestered about it that you finally look into it. And then it's a huge discovery for you and something that you can kind of bring, to the community as a really a welcoming gift. Like, hey guys, check this shit out that I just figured out. It's amazing. Because I agree with you completely. It's about learning. We start with, we don't get the tools of learning like the trivium in school, where we can learn grammar, logic, and rhetoric and have a liberal education and begin to understand our connection to reality and nature and how we fit here. I would actually love to hear about that from you, as far as like, you say that modern science is like, hey, you get one miracle, and then here we are, but nothing else matters. You're an insignificant being, and how your take on flat Earth philosophy changes that, and how that view shifted for you. I'd love to talk about that.
So I was doing the thing. I went to college. I got my bachelor's degree, and then I went into corporate America, and I worked I worked for a long time in one industry, and then I switched industries, and then I actually worked for this large corporation, not large corporation, a small corporation, and started a new division, and the division dominated, and then the company was sold, and I thought it was the worst thing. Oh my God, they're shutting down my division. And so I started my own company, right? And the funny thing is, I was looking into all sorts of different, self-improvement stuff. And one of the things I learned about was a vision board. You know what a vision board is, right?
I sure do. Yeah,
Of course.
sure.
So I made a vision board and I put a bunch of things on it. One of the things I put on it is I want to be the CEO of my own company. And I laughed because I had no idea how to start a company or even what a CEO did. Okay. I was like, I don't even know. I literally laughed. I was like, oh, well, that's something. And I put down a whole bunch of things. And I literally, I looked at it, I thought about it and stuff. And 5 years later, I find myself sitting in my own office at my own company one night, reconciling the books on a couple projects that we did. And I realized I'm the CEO of my own company, right? And I was making more money than I ever thought I could make. And it was amazing. And then, I was doing my podcast and I started realizing that this isn't the answer to life. And then I was having a couple issues, with what's going on in the business. And my partner wanted to get into putting those towers with the begin with a 5 on the buildings that we controlled. And I wasn't a fan of that. And I'm well into my flat earth journey at this point. And I realized I think I want to leave my own company. And that's the craziest thing ever. I have the American dream, the thing that I worked my whole life for. I actually got out of corporate America, started my own company, successful, making tons of money, had lots of free time too. And I said, a crazy idea to walk away from it all. A series of incidents happened. And I said, I left. Right. And one of the things that happened was I was like, I know it's crazy to leave, but I went to pay my bills and the money that came in from Apple from my app was the exact amount I needed to pay my bills. And I was like, that's a sign.
Yep.
Right. I asked for a couple other signs and they came rapidly fast. I was like, okay, stop. I got it. And I left. And here I am talking to you. This is what I'm doing. The app is doing really well.
Good.
I take all the money that comes in the app besides just paying my bills, put it right back into the app. The app's getting better and better. And it's becoming it is by far the number one best way to wake your friends and family up to flat earth. And it's also becoming the new LinkedIn, the new Facebook is becoming all of this stuff because all of the people on the friend finder are it's blowing people away, and there's already, people getting married because of people that they've met on the app.
That's right. You'll be
cool.
Doing weddings soon, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was asked to do a wedding actually.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that. That's great, man. You're bringing a lot.
These are the people that are right near me.
Wow.
Right. And I could tap on them and send a message. I can send a group message to all 341 of them now.
Tell them to check out the podcast, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it actually on the app, when you put this on YouTube, if you hit the the web button, if you hit this button, when yours post, yours will be at the top of that list.
Oh, that's cool,
right? These are the interviews that I've done. It goes on forever. But yours will be right at the top of the list.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I've seen so many of your interviews, man. You do such a great job. It's really good work. I'm really impressed with everything that you've been putting out and the frequency and volume as well. Like that is a lot of work. I know you've been putting a lot of hours into this and I'm grateful for it. Like I said, my friend Wendy is too, when I'm not pinging her at 4 a.m. when it's 3 p.m. here or whatever. And she's over in the in the Aussie land of freaking
the land out over.
Yeah. But no, it's super cool, man. I love your app and all your work is super fascinating. Let's talk a little bit more about it. Like let's talk about some of the things that really kind of were contrary to your worldview as you start discovering this. What were the first things to kind of put you in a place to start accepting this idea?
The idea that the earth is not a ball?
Yes.
Well, first I learned that, governments aren't our mommy and daddy. They're not here to protect us. Mm-hmm. And I saw all of the evil in the world and they're lying to us about everything. And then I started seeing evidence that the earth is not a globe. And I was like, well, what does it matter? Well, why the lie? I still have to go to work. look where my life's led me. I don't have to go to work. I'm in my home right now.
Right.
Okay. And I'm working harder than I've ever actually worked, which
Yeah.
is quite interesting.
But motivated and you're fulfilled. You're
Yeah,
like
well,
doing
I'm
something you
motivated
care
'cause
about.
I'm doing something that's making a difference. The amount of letters I get from people, Dave, I thought you were crazy. I trolled you. Then I looked, and now my life has changed. And I get that all the time. Dave, I was addicted to meth, and you helped me realize that there's more to this world, and I'm off of meth. That's happened many times. Okay, Dave, I was all alone. The app, I started a Telegram group with the people around me. I found the love of my life. We're moving in together and getting married. Right. I get letters like this every single day now. And so it's super fulfilling. Right. And people, they're the haters out there, the anti-flat earthers are out there that I'm just in it for the money. Right. I'm in it ripping people off. Have you ever bought anybody a beer? One beer? Right. Because the app's only $3 and you can't get a beer in a bar for that. And the subscription, if you want to be able to message people, it's $10, $11 a year. $11 a year. Okay. You ever buy anybody a margarita? I relate everything to liquor for some reason. I'm not even a big drinker. Okay. But the app is more reasonably priced than anybody could ever imagine. And you don't have to subscribe. Okay. You might want to because there's more and more features that are going to be on the subscription side. But the app was super successful long before the subscription part was added with more stuff. Everyone loves it. But did I answer the question?
Yeah, yeah.
All
Well,
right.
people hate on me too, or some people do. I've gotten
Yeah.
a lot of those, types of messages too. Hey, I was on my deathbed and I found a book that you read and I listened to it and it got me through that time. I learned that, I was the creator of my reality and not a victim because of some of the work that you had either purveyed or done or whatever. And it feels really good. And then you do always have those naysayers. There's always going to be the haters, the people who are like, oh, how could you put anything behind a paywall? And I'm like, bro, do you work for free? You know what I'm saying? Like, just
Yeah.
because I'm a healer or whatever, does that mean that I have to give you everything and then
And
I'm
I
not allowed
made
to
it.
charge?
I made it so a homeless person can afford it. Okay. $3 one-time charge for an app that you will use every day of your life. Right. Just what I tell people is go to the app store and read the reviews. Besides a couple of people, a couple trolls that show up, and trolls don't like paying $3 though. And a couple of people that have an issue with their phone, like their hard drive was full and they loaded the app and it didn't work, so they leave a 1 star. Even with that, I am the highest rated app in the app store with that number of ratings. And just read the reviews. People, it's like I can make a book out of just the reviews on the app store. You can't say that about most apps or any apps. So it's an app that bypasses the YouTube algorithms where they're hiding information. It connects people together using their technology that where they're trying to divide us. I'm bringing people together. It does so much. Here's the thing. If it wasn't my app and I was doing these interviews, I would be promoting the app because right now, like if you Google flat earth, like, hey, top 10 reasons the earth might be flat. Well, you're going to get top 10 reasons the earth is a globe.
And
they're all
definitely not flat, right?
yeah, and definitely not flat. And it's all by these globe trolls. The guy that calls himself Professor Dave. I mistakenly allowed a show to have me and him on, and the guy was such a child. And it's so funny. All the flat earthers are saying, "Wow, what a friggin' tool this guy was. He acted like a child, and he couldn't understand the simple concepts I was saying." And he goes, "I don't know what you're talking about. You're stupid." Rather than going, "Wow, that doesn't make any sense on a heliocentric model." And and you really I can't answer it. So the Globers will say that I've ended flat earth with this, and the flat earthers are saying, oh my god, this is amazing. The truth is I've gotten more people signing up for the app because of that interview than most recent interviews. So I don't know, flat earth is growing because flat earth is the truth, and you can't hide the truth. It's like trying to keep darkness. You go into a dark room, you light a match, the whole room is lit. Okay, you can't keep things hidden that are true for that long.
You can't just ad hominem attack people just because you don't
That's all they
want them to
have.
be right. You know what I'm saying?
The best flat earth proof is that the globe doesn't have a single globe proof, right? That the Globers will come in and they'll just, you'll see on this video when it goes up, all the trolls, my regular trolls will show up and they'll be just attacking people, calling me a scammer, saying I'm ripping people off $3. Okay. They're saying that I'm in it for the money, and they're just, and there's even some flat earthers that are butthurt that they're not doing well. They're like, oh, he's in it for the money. Sign up to my Patreon, please. It's the first thing that they say.
Oh,
But
sure.
what do you get for that? You get nothing. All my content is free online. So don't get the app. The app, people get the app because they want the app. When I first made the app, it was for me. It was just so I have something in my hand that I can show people when I'm explaining flat earth. And everyone's like, where do I get that? I need that. And so it's evolved from there. But they have no globe proof. And when the trolls show up, click on their channel and watch. 0 videos, 0 content, just joined, or they've joined for like 3 years and there's still no content on their channel. What's going on? I call those the complete globe proof channels because there's no content.
They might not even be real people.
Could be some bots. Of them are. Yeah, some of them are, but there's we've seen pictures and information, there's CIA rooms filled with people that are just there. They're trolls. They're paid trolls. They're paid to. I have certain ones that follow me everywhere, but you'll see that they never. Basically, mostly I ignore them and ban them. But when they're on other people's channels, I don't have control over that. So I just reply, "Is that your best globe proof?" Dave's a scammer. Is that your best globe proof? His app doesn't work. Is that your best globe proof? Blah 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 blah. Is that your best globe proof? And they never, ever come back with one. They don't even try because there are none. Because in their world, in their world, level is curved. Yeah, they try. The people that try are just, they just haven't done any research. And they're like, day and night. I could see the Southern Cross from Santiago, Johannesburg, and Australia at the same time. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Okay. There's only one day a year in those 3 spots that you can see it, but people are looking in different directions. Like if you're over here, 2 people looking this way, and if you're here looking that way, and you're all looking, but there's only one day a year where you're all in nighttime at the same time. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy. No, and that's what's interesting to me too. Like the implication, like the ancient implications that, ancient technology. We can talk a little bit about Tartaria if you'd like. I'm interested in that and some of these buildings that are mysteriously like partially under the earth and kind of poking out. I know for a fact that history. We can all agree that history is written by the victors. What are we missing in history? What is Tartaria? Do you mind giving us a little bit of a synopsis? Or
we're led to believe that we live at the pinnacle of civilization, that we're at the smartest that humans have ever been, when the reality is we're literally 3/4 of the way through the movie Idiocracy. This is a parking lot that was being dug out in New York City, and they found that there's buildings underneath the road. Explain.
Yeah, I saw the Ninja Turtles. I thought they lived down there. I mean, that's my best.
You know what? Can't rule it out.
But no, I mean, I'm very interested in this. The ancient, so much technology that we see every day. It's like you say, we see so many things that we can't even classify or even recognize, because our map doesn't have that on it, right? Like it doesn't exist in our worldview and our paradigm, the way that we view the world, the way that we're taught. So until we can kind of expand our cosmography charts or our ability to experience the world, it's almost impossible for us. Like there's 3 options. You either see it and it's there and you have to like create this new sort of part of your map, or you just say, oh no, that's just some other thing. And you stay, right where you were at, but you just say, what it was. Or the third option, is you just don't even see it at all because you can't register it.
There's people that can see, there's people that can see when shown, and there's people that can't see when shown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is I forget where this one is. These are gigantic, unbelievable granite statues. And look how small the people are. This was all built when they had horses and buggies. Give me a break.
Right.
Okay. I mean, there's so many of these things. I just did a show on Beth Martin's channel yesterday with Autodidactic Campbell, who is a big Tatarian guy. Highly recommend looking at his stuff. And once you understand, and also John Levy, another amazing, lost history researcher. Once you start seeing what this world was, and you realize it wasn't even that long ago, they're lying to us about what year it is. and everything. But again, this stuff is not that easy to find. Tartaria is a little easier to find, but in the app, if you hit the web button and you go to the right here, mud floods, amazing playlist that grows all the time. And then go on this. And then, I like that channel. Subscribe to that channel because I don't have all of their work on the channel. And this list alone will fill up your entire year. Okay. And then at the end of the year, you'll be a different person because you'll see the world completely differently. Right. But there's tons of stuff. I got a lot of John Levy videos, which are these guys right here. His stuff, 20 minutes, 30-minute video once a week. Mind-blowing. He talks real slow like this. He's like, today I'm going to bring you out in the desert. Who thought that the men, and you'll be like, what the hell's going on with this guy? And then you get addicted to it. Okay. And then you'll follow his stuff, and his videos are phenomenal. I listen to most of my videos at 2 times speed, but even John, who talks really slow, I listen to him at regular speed because it's so fascinating, and the images he's showing are mind-blowing, and I don't want it to end that fast.
He's got a therapeutic voice, huh?
It's hysterical, actually. But it's fantastic stuff. He did one, if you go back maybe 10 or 15 videos on the Philadelphia World Fairs, that one will blow your absolute mind. And you'll look at this and go, all right, everything I learned about history is a lie, and I have to start over again. And that's hard for a lot of people to do because it's, they studied in school, they studied history, and they don't want that all to be a waste. And their ego is protecting their belief system when, when facts and evidence can change it to a knowing.
Yeah. My favorite hero, mentor type of figure is Robert Anton Wilson. One of the things that he said is everybody has their own BS belief system. And that for him, he said he had his suspicions, but he didn't have beliefs. And so I try and sort of live in that world too, because to get your ego out of the thing and just evaluate whatever it is because it's hard, man. Like I was at a freedom festival last summer, right? I'm doing comedy at this freedom festival, and I'm talking to all these awake people. And then I start to talk to them about a documentary that I was watching about flat Earth. And I was mentioning Tartaria specifically. I wasn't even talking about flat Earth. I had just mentioned that I'd stumbled upon some information in a flat Earth video. And these people start lambasting me at a freedom festival of all things. And I'm like, dude, you're so attached. It's like, don't you remember the first time that you had to question your reality and the
but flat Earth, that we've known for 2,000 years. Right. I was that guy also. Right. I get it because the first worksheet you ever bring home from school is about the planets and the orbits of the sun and the moon and the stars. You have to know that the moon goes around the Earth, and and I remember the sheet, and kids still get it today. Right? That's like more than 50 years ago. Okay, it's the same thing. Globe in the front of the class. Gravity lessons, spinning water, right? It's all to indoctrinate you. So the foundation, because little kids are easy. You tell them something from a point of authority, they believe it. Teacher can tell a kid anything, and the kid's going to believe it most likely, right? And so your whole world is built around this ridiculous helio-nonsensical BS model. And then it's harder and harder for you to let it go because it literally changes who you are.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, it was amazing how much this person clamped down on that, right? Like they completely shunned me publicly when 2 seconds ago we were just like libertarian brothers and sisters or whatever, and so to bring up another idea, and then somebody actually wound up chiming in and saying, like, from a natural standpoint, could be a plate. Could be, like they started to talk, a little bit more in depth about their knowledge that they had looked into. And I was like, look, first of all, I wasn't getting into this to talk about that specifically. I was just referencing that from a piece of information that I found interesting specifically about Tartaria. But we do tend to hang on to our worldviews. Like I get to witness my grandmother just being addicted to Fox News, right? And politics. And that's a very common thing that happens to a lot of people. I remember being a young kid and seeing them watch the television and talk about how terrible the world was becoming. And that was because they were listening to authority through the television set.
And it has to be true because you got Fox over here and CNN over here two different hands, same monster. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's all nonsense. The news is to steer your mind. It's an acronym. You know where they came up with news? North, east, west, south.
Huh.
Steering your mind.
Interesting. It does just that, you can just see it. I was walking around the corner here, and I live in kind of a progressive college town, right? Like there's a lot of academics and stuff, young families. And so I'm walking down the street the other day, and I look over in somebody's window. I see a blue and yellow Ukraine flag.
Oh boy.
But I could still see the folds in it. They fucking ordered it from Amazon and put it up immediately in their window. You can still see how fresh it was. It was packed and folded in the package, and they put it immediately up. It's like, come on, at least steam the thing and seem like you're really woke. You know what I'm saying?
People need to identify with whatever crisis is at hand. It's insane. The spooky thing flying through the air was people getting tired of it. So now we got the war in Ukraine, and after that, it's going to be a cyber attack or a fake alien invasion or something, or a nuke attack. Right? Nukes. That's another one. Nukes don't exist. Are you aware of that?
I've heard that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, nuclear bombs don't exist. Now people are going, what are you talking about? Because your core, every cell in your body vibrates around the idea that we could be taken out by a nuke at any time. And that puts dis-ease in your body. You're not at ease, right? And that's what they want. They want you filled with dis-ease. Right?
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Like my mom talks about this, and now thank you for saying that, because I just felt myself loosen up a little bit. But like she was in school and they would make them go under a desk.
Yeah, me too. I'm probably the same age as your mom. Okay. So people are like, well, what about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I know exactly what you're going to say. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, plants, people, and animals have always lived there healthy and fine, right? There's less cancer there than there is here in the United States. 3 days after the bombs went off, the sandwich shops were open. The flower shops were open. The trains were running. People were back to work. Does that sound like a nuclear bomb? No. There's only one reporter allowed to make videos. Take pictures and write articles. Anyone else that did was put in jail. Why are they controlling the information? What's going on? Right. And it's all about fear. Right. In Australia, there's massive amounts of land that's fenced off with this massive fence. And they're like, oh, don't go back here. They did nuclear testing. You'll die. Radiation is another hoax. Fukushima and Chernobyl, plants, people, and animals still live there. They're fine. There's no problem. Galen Windsor, a guy going around in the 50s and 60s, showing that that plutonium is not dangerous. He ate it. He swam in the pools in the nuclear facilities, right? Showing that it's not dangerous. And then nuclear power plants exist. You know what they do? They use chemicals to boil water to make steam to turn pistons. It's a very high-tech way of boiling water to turn a steam engine. That's all it is. Okay. So it's not nuclear fusion pulling energy out of atoms and stuff. That's all nonsense. Right. So once you understand this, I'm going to tell you guys where to get that information. Don't just believe crazy Flat Earth Dave. All right. Then when you're watching the news, not that you should ever watch the news, or you hear something, Putin says nuclear war threat, or, they're afraid of nuclear war. They need us to pound the war drums, just like we all pounded them on 9/11. I did. Okay. They need us to pound the war drums for them to go to war. And they're going to use the nuclear threat to try to get us to do it. If everyone's afraid of nukes, we better go attack before something bad happens, right? But now, whenever I hear someone say on the news, a politician or a newscaster mention nuclear power, I laugh. Every cell in my body laughs and rejoices. Like, what a clown. What a script. Who wrote that? And that's all I'm thinking of. I'm not like, oh my God, is it true? Am I going to die? Am I going to be like Sarah Connor holding onto the fence in the Terminator? Right? None of that's true. None of that is true. It eliminates all of that. It frees your mind. It frees your mind from the heliocentric, nonsensical matrix. So where can you find this information rather than just hear it from me? Are you familiar with the Crow 777 radio podcast?
Yeah.
Crow with 2 R's, CRROW777radio.com, episode 053, and episode, I'm thinking into the future, like 1 or 2 days away, episode 400, a new episode on nukes. Subscribe, Listen to those episodes, and you too will now giggle and laugh in joy whenever you hear anyone say nuke, because when they do, you can discount everything they said.
Right on. Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Because yeah, that's what we hear from such a young age. And the Cold War. I mean, we're talking about decades of fear and loosh harvesting. Just from that alone. So, I'm a big fan of self ownership and including emotional ownership and the fact that we have the God given right to feel okay. Like we don't have to join some fear based. Mass formation psychosis to prove that we're a good person. That's guilt. That's shame. That's negative affiliations and a lot of toxic stress in our body and the types of things that I just personally don't want to associate. If I'm going to be here, even if I'm stuck here or whatever, I am of the opinion that it should be as fun and enjoyable as possible. And I should be able to have the luxury of connecting with other open-minded people who are curious and bringing their information to the world, such as yourself. So, I think that it's really powerful work that you're doing. I'd love to maybe do like a little intro. I don't know that my audience is very familiar with the model. I personally am, just because I can't help myself. I'm like super curious about all this stuff. But I would love for you to just give us a tour day, as much as you can.
So I'll go real quick. When you Google flat Earth images, you're going to see a disc turn up floating in space. That's all Flat Earth Society nonsense, right? And that's what they want you to think flat Earth is. So think about a puddle of water. When it rains, does water accumulate at the top of a hill?
No.
Where does it accumulate?
The bottom.
And what contains the water? What stops the water from running down the road? If there's a puddle, if there's a stationary puddle, what's holding the water in?
Just the lowest point.
The land is higher than the water consistently, and it's trapped the water in a basin, if you will, right? Right. So consistently around a standing puddle, the land is higher than the water, because if you lowered the land, then it would just run away. The water would seek the next base level, right? Very simple, right? The land is higher than the edge of the puddle all the way around the puddle, because if it wasn't, the puddle would flow away. Same thing with a pond. What contains the pond? Large bodies of water at rest need lateral pressure. Well, you need land that's higher than the water, that surrounds the water all the way around, okay? The lateral pressure is the land. And if the land was lower, you'd have a waterfall. You'd have a stream leaving the puddle, okay? Well, the world pond is like the world. All the oceans are like a pond. So we're looking down on the world here. All of the continents and islands are surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by the highest land on Earth. All right? The highest land on Earth, right? What's the highest land on Earth? They tell us Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. There's something truthful. They tell us the continent at the bottom of the ball. That's not truthful. Antarctica is the land that surrounds our water. When you get to the shore of Antarctica, the land is a lot higher than the water. It's not like pulling up onto a beach. It's high. The plateau is like 200 feet over your head. What is that? So that's the ice wall. It's not an ice wall like the Game of Thrones. It's the shoreline cliff. I call it the ice cliff because a wall sounds like it has two sides. Here's the shoreline of Antarctica, right? What's out there in the outer space? The question is the outer space. What do I mean by that? The outer space. Well, if one possible, and again, we're not allowed, we don't know what's going on out there. But if we live here and this ring is Antarctica, well, what is this out here? This is more land. What's another way to say more land? Extra territory?
Yeah.
Extra territory. So if you lived out here on the extra territory, what might I consider you?
An extraterrestrial.
And if you came to visit me in here in the inner space, where did you come from?
Outer space.
Extraterrestrial from outer space, just a few thousand miles away. Okay? If you were an alien, extraterrestrial, and you got assigned, you got to come in here and you got to abduct this guy, probe him. You can go do that and make it home in time for dinner with your kids the same day.
Sure.
Okay? Right? So this, believing all of that other stuff, nonsense. But this is one way that could be going on now. in the 1901 or 1901, there's a book that was written. It was actually a series of articles in Florida Magazine called "The Iron Republic," and it's about a politician that was fed up with what was going on here, and bought a ship, sold everything, bought a ship, and he found an opening in Antarctica, and he ended up lost at sea for a month, and then they found land, and they found a city, and it was this advanced civilization out there. Now, everything about the article rings true. But even if it wasn't true, in 1800s, 1901, they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica. Okay? What's going on here? This whole idea that we live on a ball is a new thing. It's not 2,000 years old, because they were teaching flat Earth here in the United States in the 1920s and 30s, and they were teaching flat Earth and globe Earth as two options all the way up to the early 1960s. What? This is true. Okay. Did you see my interview with Ruth?
I did. Yeah. The lady that was over
102 years old.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about Tataria and the World's Fairs that she had gone to. And she said, her memory was so good. I said, what did they teach you in school about the Earth in elementary school? She said, they taught me the Earth was flat. And then years later, they changed the story, and she had to believe them because they were the teachers. And then when I told her the truth and how the world is really set up, she literally broke down in tears. She's like, I've known it my whole life. 102, I finally know the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's powerful, man. Like, I mean, there's something, like I said at the early part of the episode, I felt like I was stolen from. And I mean,
your entire life is stolen.
Exactly.
You're in the matrix. Mm-hmm. The heliocentric system is the matrix. You are walking around. Most people are NPCs walking around this fake world. They don't know what's going on. They don't know, that you have the power to manifest things. They don't know that they don't have to listen to anybody. The only power anyone has over you is in your imagination.
That's right.
All right. You don't know. They don't want you to know that your thoughts create reality, that you're at the center of creation, that there's infinite water, infinite food, infinite land, infinite everything, free power, that you don't need to work in these useless slave jobs, where that the whole world, we don't need a government and mind control.
That's well said, man. Yeah. We each are sovereign human beings, right? Like we each have the power to control our own reality, and so we are a part of this co-creation process. And I think
they don't want you to know that signs and symbols rule the world, right? Not words, and words have meaning. Words are spelling.
Mm-hmm. That's
okay.
Exactly right.
And they don't want you to know that they put this stuff in front of us, and once you have eyes to see, you can see it. Like the International Space Station. Okay. The International Space Station is the same shape as the Freemason symbol. Okay. What's up with that? And they're up there. They're always doing stuff like this. They're doing crazy stuff. And then on the internet, excuse me, on the International Space Station, if we catch them faking 0G once, it's over. Using a green screen once, it's over. But we caught them 100 times, 1,000 times.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, the moon landing is my favorite Kubrick film, personally. Like,
absolutely. There you go. That is a good one, but it was really low quality, low quality.
That's what made it believable. But what's cool about it is that they could do a phone call from the moon to the White House, and I have a hard time streaming with you with my internet here in 2022. It's interesting. Right?
And Buzz Aldrin and the astronauts, they all have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame because they're great actors.
Yep.
Amazing, right?
Amazing. Yep. Absolutely. I had no idea they had stars on the Walk of Fame.
They have stars on the Walk of Fame.
Wow. That's on the nose. No, that's great, man.
Again, and if you want to find information in the app, you hit the web button, scroll down to the very bottom, and we got Moon Mission Nonsense, new playlist that was just added. Lots of stuff, adding more all the time, and stuff that you won't find on YouTube easily.
Yeah, that
And you
is
got to
a
ask
huge
yourself,
problem.
why?
Yep.
Why are they hiding it? Why
Yeah.
does every flat Earth video go? Flat Earth is an ancient concept that was really, proven. No, it wasn't. Show me the proof. Show me the proof.
There's so
Right?
many cool old maps and stuff too. Like the more that you start to dig into this stuff, the more that you find like the Norse maps and, like all these things with like, some very peculiar and interesting elements, I would say. And there's a lot of different cool takes too that people have had and different things that they've linked together regarding, history and, or whatever, whatever the hell happened back behind us, that the future is kind of in the past in a way that we were able to, influence energy and use electricity and in much, or at least some sort of power, free energy in the past. Perhaps that's something to do with the pyramids and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at all of this stuff, all of this stuff is built on ley lines, lined up with certain luminaries in the sky, which is impossible in a helio centric world. This map here was in all the libraries, was in all the schools, it was everywhere. And then in the mid 1900s, they removed it. They just took it away, right? This is the map of the world. And and it might not be perfect, right? But it's way, comparing it to the globe is ridiculous. People say, well, that's just a projection of the globe, and that's why Australia is so stretched out. No, the globe is the AE map wrapped around a sphere, and that's why Australia looks so small, right? Australia is way, way, way bigger than they're telling us. They tell us this is Antarctica, when in fact Antarctica is everything outside of our realm, everything outside of our pond, if you will.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That other map that you were showing, that looks like it looks like the UN map, if I've ever seen it. Just like it, right? Like that.
Absolutely.
Same.
Well, I mean, the UN map and all of the companies that run the world, all of the big organizations, they all use the same map. Why is that? Why are they hiding Antarctica?
It's fascinating. Look at that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Unreal. Yeah, you're doing a lot of great work, man. I really appreciate it. And I thank you truly for coming to hang out and talk to me. I really appreciate you sharing your story, man. Like I said, it means a lot to me. I'm always, it encourages me. It makes me fired up to see somebody following their passion, following their curiosity. You're a CEO now, bro.
That's right. We're in
a flat Earth.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And there's so many other smart people out there. But a lot of them just don't have the time or the courage or the desire to do this. And, and they need to keep their job because, we work in this world of money. But, somehow I found out a way to support myself doing this, and it works great. Maybe the world is like this, and Antarctica is just frozen for 1,000,000 miles. Who knows?
There's so
Who
many
knows?
possibilities.
Maybe there's other puddles. Maybe this is a puddle, and there's another puddle with its own sun, right?
Yep. I kind of like
they're
that.
rings.
Yeah, I've seen it where there's like a model where like the sun is sort of going around like this, and then each age or dispensation it shifts over a little bit, right? And then like thaws out sort of a new spot. And so it's going all the way around like a clock around the Earth, right?
Maybe Mars and Venus are the sun and the moon of the ring that's outside of Antarctica, and maybe Saturn and Jupiter are the sun and moon of the third ring farther out there. Here's the Mars system, and NASA's not lying when they say they're trying to go to Mars. Maybe they are, and Saturn and and Venus has phases just like our moon. Did you know that?
That's so cool. Yeah, I know
Venus has phases.
That doesn't surprise me at all. As above, so below, and there's so many different ways that it can be. It reminds me a lot of that Jim Carrey movie where he is,
the Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Yeah. Where at the beginning of the movie, he was like me in class, like daydreaming and wanting to be an explorer. And the teacher's like, it's already all been explored.
Sorry, Truman. There's nothing else to discover.
There's nothing else. It's all over with, and it's like
all over.
No, I knew a long time ago that wasn't true. And, you are living proof to keep going, to keep exploring, to keep digging and searching. And like I said, I really, really appreciate your work. Please tell folks where they can find the app, where they can find more about you and follow all your stuff.
You can find all my information at theflatearthpodcast.com. Or flatearthdave.com. That's easier to remember. What is going on here? Oh, there we go. That's what I'm trying to do. flatearthdave.com will bring you to where you can book a show with me. If you have a show or know of a show, suggest it to me there. If you're having any issues with the app, there's a support button there. If you're looking for the app and you can't remember the convoluted long name, Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, just go to flatearthdave.com and there's a link there. If you have the app and you go out regularly and you want to wake up people, a lot of people ask me for cards, little cards that they can hand out, and I can't send them to everybody. But there's a download link where you can download the artwork, go to Vistaprint, spend $15, get 500 cards, and then you could start spreading them out and help waking people up, because there's nothing better, nothing more fun, more fulfilling, more energetically good for the world than unplugging people from the heliocentric matrix. And that's it. And my podcast is there. If you're a skeptic and you don't want to get the app, or you can't get the app, you don't have a smartphone, whatever, I have a thing called the Flat Earth Crash Course on the webpage there. Click it. It's a series of videos. I challenge you. You can't get through 3 of them without rejecting the globe. It's impossible. Wow. Impossible.
Oh, nice pun. I like
Thank
that.
You. I'll be here all day. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll end it on the good pun, because I can't resist a good pun. No, dude, thank you so very much for sharing. You're doing great work. I appreciate it. Truly, I'm excited to share this with our folks and see what they have to say, what their feedback is, and we'll keep this an amazing discussion, this discourse continuing on, and as we continue to explore and understand ourselves in the world that we live in. Because like you said, I think we are in a big science lab. It's a big, giant science lab, and we're all scientists within this little space, learning and sharing. So thanks again. Check out Dave's...
we're supposed to be scientists here. They want us to be ants.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They want us to be little workers in their lab.
Yeah.
Right?
We're supposed to be compliant with whatever the scientists said.
Right.
But
we're explorers. And our goal here is to expand the mind of the creator by exploring and finding more and adding more to it, rather than just working and dying.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Be sure to follow Dave's work. I'll put all the links in the description as well. And we'll have to get together again, man, and do like a little bit of a panel, have a couple other people and kick it, have a little party if you're down.
All right, man. Thanks. See ya.
All right.